And all new at 5, a major organized crime bust. 23 people under arrest now accused of stealing guns and cash.
Today, police revealed 4 organized crime groups are wreaking havoc.
From aggravated robbery to kidnapping, burglary, and more. Let's take a look at this. New pictures from court documents in this case. These are a few of the people who have been charged, and investigators say the money, tens of thousands of dollars, is all stolen.
FBI, open up! Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Stacks. I'm your host, Bill Stacks, and today I got the only American Pink Panther, Punch.
Operations, you get fixed up, you get a plastic surgeon, and they give you money. You know, like in Rikers, if you get cut in Rikers, you're gonna get a big settlement. You're gonna get a shitload of money. You know, there's something that we want to find out. Being that we're on this platform, I know we're going away from the Versace heist, but even though, listen, I'm just gonna end it right here. I'm the guy that did Versace 3 times in Manhattan, the boutique. Okay, that Johnny Versace actually built, and it's on Madison Avenue. There's one across the street, which is the women's and the men's. They were across the street from each other. And I used to have keys to those buildings because Montenegro had access to that, and we did a jewelry store there. Okay, and Graf is across from there, you know, Graf Diamonds. And there's a couple of things that you're going to read in part 2 and in part 3 of Stealing Manhattan that involves Graf Diamonds. And back to the smash and grabs, yeah, Pink Panther Punch. Me, the reason why I say the American Pink Panther, so people don't get this information mixed up, because first of all, the Pink Panthers are an extremely elaborate, mysterious group of people that they don't really know the origin or the origination, like the Genesis story. They don't know where they evolved from or where they came from. All they know is that it came from Serbia or Montenegro, you know, from the Balkan region. But that's about it. The reason why is because very tight-lipped. No one's going to say anything. And as a matter of fact, the people that I was employing to work with me, they didn't even know they were in the Pink Panther gang. So, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of things that I'm talking about go back 20 years. I did 21 years in the system that's broken. I did, me personally. The reason why I say American Pink Panther is because I, Punch, Pavle, Stanimirovic, am the only one that's born in New York City, while everyone else is born everywhere else. I'm the only one born in New York, and I'm the only one that was born in a criminal network, in a criminal family that was actively doing crimes. And our friends were the Italian mafia, you know, the LCN. Those are the people that were around my dad.
Even Michael Francis mentioned you on one of his shows.
Of course. Why wouldn't he not mention me when I'm, you know, like my father was a huge operator. He had restaurants. He had construction companies. It was called Mr. Stan Construction, working with Tishman, working with, you know, with Trump, working with all these. So, yeah, the mob didn't work with Trump, but my dad did. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So all I'm saying is there's levels to this. The highest level of criminality is what my father was doing. And he was actively doing heists. Am I saying it correctly?
Yeah.
Juxes, heists, you know?
Heists.
Yeah, heists. He was pulling off, he was the first guy in Manhattan to open a vault, all right, that had diamonds and jewelry and stuff in it, okay? And my father was the first one, and the way he opened it, because he was supposed to have the combination, but they screwed him, and my father 10 times couldn't, you know, open it was the wrong combo. And he got so upset that he threw the hammer at the safe, at the wall, and it fucking went through. The hammer went through, so it was soft. You get it?
What?
My father was, yeah, it was soft. The door was steel, and it was a big vault, but the side of it was sheetrock, bro. Well, you know, it wasn't really sheetrock, but it was soft.
It was like sheet metal type.
It was worse. They got right in, and they fucking made millions of dollars. And this is in the 60s. So you don't think the mafia would pay attention to Mr. Stan, my dad, that goes to the racetrack and goes to the gambling halls and plays poker every fucking night? And then when my father got arrested was before I was born, the Vizcaya. 1971. The Versace Heist, bro. Like, look it up. It's crazy. It's a fucking Hollywood movie. So my mom and dad, they're like Bonnie and Clyde in the 70s before I was even born. You know, which is fucking crazy, man. And the book is ballistic because you got people in there from John Gotti. You got people like Joan Crawford, you know, in the book. Like, so it's like, it's a big, you know, it's a huge cornucopia of criminality that's like, what can I say? Like Forrest Gump, basically, you know?
Yeah.
Like I was there. I was there. I seen it. What do you mean? Yeah, I was. How is it possible? Because who my dad was. Now you got guys, I guarantee you this. Watch this shit. Listen, Tony Lee knows who my dad is. John Gotti knows who my dad is. Peter Gotti, all those, everybody knows who my dad is, right? The Lombardozis, all 6 brothers, you know, from Carmine, Dr. Lombardozzi, to Danny, to Sonny, to Paul, to Cosmo. Like, you know what I mean? The Mercedes Benz that they were driving, they bought that from my dad. My father was the first one driving Benzes before Gotti. My father was the first one wearing Brioni suits because we were fucking robbing Brioni in Manhattan. We robbed the whole store, you know what I mean? Now, the reason why my father was so fancy, because they wanted him to be an actor. You know, they always wanted him to be in Hollywood. So my father's friends is like Charles Bronson, you know, guys like, you know, Alain Delon. I don't know if you know who that is, but fucking incredible French actor that's a mobster that played with Charles Bronson. You know, I would see actors in my fucking house, you know, and like, well, Charles Bronson, for example, you know, Tom Selleck, he's still alive. I hope he would say something, you know. Let me see who else. Burt Reynolds, you know. I would see, when I would go to Columbus Cafe, Sean Penn would be there. The guy that, Baryshnikov, the Russian ballet dancer. Well, he was like partners with Paul Herman, I think. Regis Philbin. Yeah, everybody, bro. Everybody. Yeah, Tom Selleck, Brooke Shields. Like, you know, like you name them, they're there. Where do you think actors hang out? They hang out in specific places where they're known to have friends and associates, right? So there was this place called Columbus Cafe that Paul and Charlie Herman used to own. Who's Paul Herman? If you ever seen Goodfellas, the Pittsburgh Connection, you want to see helicopters? The Pittsburgh Connection, when Ray Liotta gets busted and they got him, that's Paul Herman. The Pittsburgh Connection is Paul Herman. That's the guy. That's my friend. You know, this guy wanted to put me in Hollywood. You know, they wanted to put me in Hollywood when I was a kid. And my father said no, because he knew things that I didn't know. He knew things that we don't know, because my father was in that life. He had that upper echelon. You know, he had friends that were actors, you know, lawyers, politicians, like the works, bro. Like, you know, and the places where these guys have lunch is in the Sherry Netherland Hotel, a place called Doubles, where you just signed for the bill. And right next to you, you're going to see the mayor of New York. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or, you know, you're going to brush elbows with people that are big. Well, anyway, they're just big in every department. So if you're doing construction, you're going to get gigs all over the place. You know what I mean? So my father was a contractor. He started off as a super, 15 West 75th Street, and they wanted to give him the building. And my father seen it, he's like, oh, fuck, it's a lot of problems. I don't want to take it, you know? And I swear to God, I wish he took it. He didn't take it. The mob took it. All right? The mafia took it actively after my father.
He just didn't take it?
Yeah, he didn't want it. He didn't want to deal with it, you know, because he's seen it as a problem. It's an old pre-war building, you know, in Manhattan. And my father, you know, he was a super of many buildings. My father's the guy that started all the supers in New York City, including all the Albanians. You see, before, Albanians weren't just like Albanians, like the way they are today. Before, Serbians are not Serbians like the way they are today. Before, Croatians weren't separated. Before, Montenegrins and Macedonians and Slovenians, all these people were one because it was called Yugoslavia. It was like 6 nations. So when it was 6 nations, my father was the king of the castle. of those because he knew how to communicate with these people. He hired them. My father always had 35 to 50 workers in his construction companies, Stanley Construction. My father is the guy that, did these art galleries, worked for artists like Shokov, for Pearlstein, Philip Pearlstein, people that know art, they know the names that I'm talking about, because these are the people, the forerunners of pop art in New York City. That when you say that, you're going to say Andy Warhol. Well, Philip Pearlstein and Andy Warhol, they went to school together. And Philip Pearlstein's wife is Dorothy Cantor, and that's the trio. That's the pop trio of New York. And my father worked for one of those. Pearlstein, the big guy, the guy that inspired everybody else. And then Andy Warhol blew up. And then my father worked for Andy Warhol and did, the factory and, all these places that my father's like, he wants a window crooked. He wants a nail hanging out. He wants like some crazy shit, and he's just charging $100,000. No problem, Mr. Stan. Because they were like, flamboyant, and they were chasing after my dad and shit. And watch this. One of the guys that was chasing after my father, and I hope to God Kelly sees this, and Matt, one of my producers, right? I hope they see this. The biggest brand of fashion today, Balmain, 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 right? Balmain. I'm sorry. I think I even have a bag here. But anyway, it's Balmain, Balaim, Balmain. And the guy's name was Pierre Balmain. Pierre Balmain. That's the guy's name that owns the company. And he came here from France. And when he came here from France, guess who does the construction for his first what is it called? Boutique in Manhattan.
Mr. Stan.
And guess who tailors Mr. Stan from then on until he died? Balmain. Balmain tailored my father personally. He was his personal tailor. As a matter of fact, I remember sitting there for hours when I was a little toddler. I'm a little kid. So, I don't want to be there, but I used to see, this little gay French dude, like measuring my dad and stuff. And, and just like, oh my God, like just loving my dad, like, just holy shit, because people were in love with my dad. He was like, you could tell, like, the apple never falls far from the tree. I'm not that bad looking, but, like, don't look at me now. Look at my pictures. Like, look at when I was, in my teens and when I was 20 and 30. Like now, I'm a grandpa. Like, I'm over 50, right? So we're now no longer in a category of, like I can no longer even say that because you'll understand when you get to my age, young kid. You'll understand.
I'm 45, man. I'm not too far off.
Hey, 45 is amazing. You still got 5 long years, man.
Yeah.
I expect you to do everything you can now before you get to the age that I'm at. Okay.
I'm gonna milk it every chance I get.
Yeah. So watch this. You are an amazing interviewer because you let me tell the truth, and people that are lying are gonna get caught up in their own lies.
Yeah, how come you didn't go on someone else's platform? And why would you come here?
Because the people that they interview and the people that they believe in, or where they're coming from, like I could break it down to a science, and we should actually do an episode on this because I know where people get their motivation from an artist, right? And as an artist, I know other artists are always starving for content, and they just have a blank fucking slate. And they just can't come up with any color creation or anything until they see something or somebody else's. And then you have people like me that I go in there in the blind. I don't need nothing, and I just do it. You know what I mean?
Same way, man.
It's just like, I can't explain it. It's in my DNA, and it's exactly how I steal or how I used to steal because I'm retired today. And I've been retired for how long now? Like 13 years, right? Since 2013, basically. Yeah, that's a long time. But they still call me whenever there's a heist in California.
2013 is 11 years.
11 years, right?
Yeah.
No. Yeah?
2013?
Yeah.
No, that's almost 20 years.
2013.
19 years.
No. It's like 14 years. We're in 2024, right? Yeah. So 13 years. Yeah,
14.
13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 20. Yeah, it's not too much. Not too much. Just it's under. It's like in that range where I need to be right now, because I tell people, look, people can be mean. They can write some mean stuff, and I'll read it. And as I said, like, I'm so happy today that I'm a civilian. I'm a tax-paying civilian, right? And I'm very happy that I'm not a criminal today. I'm very happy that I'm not active. That I'm not an active Pink Panther, because if I was, things would be popping off all over the place. All right, and they're not, because I detained it. I could have kept this going. People know how to do things with different names and different people and different, right? I mean, people know how to hide and lie. Just look at the politicians. Just follow their like the way they do things, and it's not a learning curve. You just follow what they do, how they trade. As a matter of fact, this just came out the other day. This is going to be interesting for the listeners. There's a app that you can follow to invest in exactly what the politicians are investing in.
Yeah.
You heard about that?
Yeah.
And it's incredible because you're making so much money.
You were mentioned by Sammy Gravano, but I don't think he understood that he was mentioning you. He said that Bosco came to John Gotti's club with hookers and cocaine. Can you elaborate on that situation?
Oh, yeah, sure. I could elaborate that very well, because I remember like it was yesterday. I was the guy that showed up to the club. And the reason why I showed up to the club, because I'm the one with the limousines, right? And I'm the one with the escorts that were there. And that's why I came there, because I wanted to impress them. And they said, "Oh, you don't know John Gotti." I was like, "Oh, yeah? Are you sure about that?" They're like, "Well, you know what? You show me John Gotti, whether you know John Gotti, and you got carte blanche." And I was like, "Word? Okay. Gustavo, andiamo. Let's go to the Ravenite." And I got the sunroof open, and we got a little, I don't want to mention everything that we had.
Candy.
Yeah, we were, it was like early 80, no, it was probably like 90, 89, 88, 90, somewhere around there, like early 80s, right? I mean, I'm sorry, late 80s, early 90s. So, I can't pin down the right, maybe Sammy could tell you the date it was, but I don't believe John was there, okay? He wasn't at the club. It was just Sammy. Sammy was there, and he never came out. The person that came out was one of the keepers of the club, all right? One of the gatekeepers, the guy that cleans up after when everybody leaves, the guy that throws out the garbage, the guy that serves the drinks, the guy that's trusted, and his name is Norman, all right? And I don't know if there's things about Norman, but Norman is, he went to prison because he did tough guy acts. Like, he was a made guy, but he wasn't. He was hanging around John Gotti, though, like, brushing elbows with him and talking to him actively. So he was, a guy that goes to get the sandwiches,
Keeps
whatever.
The place
but
running, maintain.
Yeah. But watch this. Ask me how he got that job.
Yeah, how did he get the job?
I don't know, Stacks. Do you know? Because I don't know. Maybe I do know. Maybe the Ravenite, the real guy that took care of the Ravenite, the old man, the old man that was there when
O'Neill's club, right?
Yeah, that's right. When John's mentor had it, was running the place. And this guy, I can tell you, is family with me, because my mother married his son. My mom, after my father, after their divorce, my mom married a Sicilian guy named Al DeGangi. And his father is the caretaker to Ravenite, the original caretaker. His cappuccinos, his espressos, his sandwiches, his coffees went into John Gotti's mouth. And everybody else is there. DBs and, all these guys, they all ate. Why did they trust this guy? This guy was not a mobster. He was not a mobster. You know why? Because his father was Black Hand. And anybody that knows what Black Hand is, that's a precursor to the LCN and to the Lucky Luciano and Mayor Lansky, commission.
Yeah.
So they're considered even more scary and more royalty. So this guy, he wasn't, but his father was. So they trusted him because he knows what omerta is. Unlike guys that would do a couple of years, 3, 4, 5 years and flip. Are you kidding me? There's guys doing 30, 40, 50 years. They're not saying anything, you know? And, you know, listen, if you are around omerta, if you got that tattoo, you should be ashamed of yourself. They need to chop it off with a chainsaw.